Hey guys, it's me Falco, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am finally back talking about classes once again. Who would have guessed it? Yeah, and if they're basically worth spending your ACs on. Either way, let's begin. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the topic of, are all classes going to be worth 2k ACs? Short answer, no. There's hundreds of classes in this game, a bunch of rare ones, pseudo-rare, holiday classes, etc, etc. There are a few ones like the calendar classes which are worth 6k ACs, however they're outstanding because obviously they're calendar classes, they're made to be good, better than the rest of most classes. There's also the other classes which are endgame farms like Dragon of Time, Void High Lord, Legion Revenant, Chaos Avenger which you can't buy with ACs. However, you can buy some classes with ACs and have been able to in the past. Things like Archfiend, some other rare classes like Artifact Hunter which have been reskinned, and yeah, some other classes which are also slightly useful to you. For example, Shaman or Shaman, however you want to pronounce it, Troll Spellsmith, a few of those farming classes, a bunch of the other older classes. Now I see the next comment a lot of, bro, just farm your classes, just farm the class, it's easy, just get good, just farm. A lot of people don't have the time to farm some classes in the game and I can understand that. However, most classes, in my opinion, should be able to be farmed. It doesn't take too long for most things, maybe a couple hours to farm a reputation. Just give it a week. You don't have to play the game constantly for a few hours just to get the class. You can pace yourself a bit, but at the same time, there's things like Archfiend, which I think is a really good class. However, I will never put any effort to spend like the 20 mil gold on Archfiend because I don't want to. I don't think it's worth it. I would rather just spend my money and my ACs on Archfiend than spend my time grinding that class. Okay, and next up, what classes are going to be worth your ACs if you do intend on spending your ACs? In my opinion, I have a big list, a bunch of stuff in my inventory which if you went to check my character page and would be bothered to check my bank at whatever point if I went through it, you'd find a lot. But yeah, I think personally, sticking to the higher tier classes, like I've mentioned, the calendar classes, definitely worth your ACs, especially some of them like Timekeeper. Then you have Archfiend, Archpaladin, a Stonecrusher, Blazebinder. I do understand that Stonecrusher and Blazebinder can be gotten through like the Infinity Knight and the other package, I forget the name. However, if you don't have a package and you just have the ACs, it's not bad to just, you know, spend the ACs. And then you have a couple more as well, like I mentioned, like Shaman and some of the rare classes, which you will know will go rare or reskinned classes from other events like Black Friday, for example, which you may want. Next up, are you still able to play the game while being free to play? Completely. Like mentioned, you don't need to spend money on classes to play this game. You can just go through the game at your own pace. As long as you don't want to rush through stuff, or you don't, you know, if you feel like you can spend the time to do Archfiend, which I can't, go ahead. It's some people find it not that bad. In my opinion, I don't want to do it. But then you've got the other classes like the endgame farmers, such as Legion Revenant, and then Void High Lord, like I've mentioned. All these classes can't be bought with ACs, but they can be IODA'd. In my opinion, they're not really worth an IODA unless, once again, you don't really have the time. In that case, go ahead, it's your choice, completely. You can definitely go through this game and get even better classes than classes you'd be able to spend 2k ACs on. It's just all up to you. And finally, should you spend your ACs on classes? The majority of people are going to say no. However, I'm going to go against that and say yes. Because it's your money, it's your ACs. Just spend it however you like, please. Stop listening to what everyone else says. If you want to spend money on classes, go ahead. If you want to buy a collection chest, save the money, go ahead. If you want to buy cosmetics, go ahead. At the end of the day, it's a dress up game with classes and some mechanics for combat. Just play the game however you want. That's how it is at the end of the day. I'm sorry, whoever is watching this video right now going, yo, Falk's definitely gonna say no. You're incorrect, I'm sorry. I'm lazy sometimes. It's true, I'm lazy. And also, like I've said, the things like calendar classes, you can't get some of the calendar classes anymore. You're physically unable to get certain calendars. And technically it is cheaper to spend ACs on the calendar classes if you just want the class. But that's the point. There's some classes which you're literally unable to get unless you spend the ACs. Whether it's variant and you're a class collector, rare classes which will go rare unless you spend ACs, etc, etc. And overall, like I said, just spend it on what you want. Some are better than others. I wouldn't recommend spending ACs on certain classes which are terrible, but it's your money, so go ahead. And yeah, that's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any more classes which I've just missed out because I've forgotten. Oh, Lightcaster. I forgot to mention Lightcaster. That's one. But yeah, if there's anything else, go ahead, let me know. And if you disagree, let me know as well and why, because maybe you'll change my mind. But I doubt it. Either way, have a good day, good night, good evening, whatever time it may be for you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.